Bluff City Media presents Tigers Live with Francis Carlota. Join Francis after every Memphis Tiger game as he breaks down each matchup, player of the game, and upcoming games. Now, let's get to the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tigers Live, presented by the Bluff City Collective. I'm your host, Francis Carlota. Oh man. I don't know what it is with the Memphis Tigers and struggling to close out games. All right, I lied. I know exactly what it is. They can't hit free throws to save their life, and that's been a problem since the start of mankind, I think, for the Memphis Tigers. But regardless, they eke out a victory against Temple, 84-77. We're going to get all into it, go full recap of the game, give player of the game, and in just a moment, I will be joined by Roman Cleary. I actually see that Roman's here, so I'll add him in a moment. And then I'll be joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kenny Stubblefield, after the first commercial break. But let's get into it. Let me go ahead and add Roman to the stream. Roman, what's up, man?
Well, I was expecting a much stressful night. I'll say that. I was about to say, things are popping because I got to cover a non-stressful game for once, and Cody Rhodes is going to WrestleMania. But half of that's still true, at least. Half of that's still true. But it was still a very stressful night of Memphis Tiger basketball, as it turned out. But yeah, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. Also. Just little stuff for everyone and for y'all. I'm moving apartments on Sunday, so I will be missing the Tulane game. So someone else will be taking over hosting duties. So we're trying to deal with the move, deal with a lot of stuff going on in life. So it's been a hectic few days. But this win, I thought, like you said, was looking to be a nice respite, nice relaxation from the stress of life that's going on. And boy, was I wrong.
That's honestly what it needed to be, because
yeah,
I mean, a win against Temple doesn't help you, at least in terms of the computers, unless you absolutely blow them out. And Memphis looked like they were on the trajectory to do that in the first half, but Temple goes on a 15-0 run in the middle of the second half to cut to a 3-point game, and then there was just absolute madness from there. 9 for 23 from the free. Well, no, 11 of 25, I think, from the free throw line in the second half is how it finished out after those last two free throws from Quinterly. But the game obviously could have been closed out a lot sooner had Memphis been more efficient at the charity stripe.
Yeah, as I know Diggs said here, they were just horrible today. I think they should shoot free throws well. I know Diggs, they should. But tonight they didn't. I mean, David Jones is an 83% free throw shooter. JQ's also in the mid 80s as well. They should be knocking their free throws down, but not tonight. But they made enough to win the game. And at the end of the day, like you said, Roman, a win doesn't really help, but a loss definitely hurts. And Memphis just can't afford to lose games like this anymore. They can't.
I'll go as far as to say, if Memphis lost tonight, the at-large hopes were done. It would have been AAC Turner or bust at that point.
Yeah.
So at least Memphis is not in that scenario if fans are looking for any sort of consolation prize from tonight.
Right. Absolutely. I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones fan, Roman, or anyone watching tonight. But what did we say to death? Not today. Not today. Memphis isn't dead with their at-large hopes yet.
And also,
but
Memphis
if
will
they
not
lose
face,
again, they will.
Memphis will not face a worse team than this all season. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, because it depends on who they lose to. If they lose to Florida Atlantic, at-large hopes is still alive. I mean, a loss against Florida Atlantic is not going to hurt you. A loss at North Texas is not really going to hurt you. A loss at SMU is not really going to hurt you. But you can't lose to any of the bad teams. That's the key. But as I was just saying, Memphis will not face a worse team than Temple for the rest of the year. So there isn't a more threatening opportunity in that sense. No more quad 4 games, I think, after this. I think a home game is maybe a quad 4 game, but no more 250th net team to have to worry about there.
And with that in mind, Roman, on the bright side, if Memphis can keep racking up wins, go on a nice win streak, that should put them on the right side of the bubble. Do you agree?
Yeah, it should. And honestly, I think that's what will happen. I've heard a lot of things this week and throughout the media that I kind of disagree with, including here on our own Bluff City Media Network. I heard the On the Bluff podcast talking about how there's no positive spin on this Memphis basketball team right now. And yeah, if you're talking everything that's happening right now concurrently, yeah, I have to agree. But you can't just look at Penny Hardaway's Tigers from just a current perspective. I just think it's kind of ignorant to do that. I mean, Memphis has come back from a worse situation than they're in right now. During Penny's tenure in 2022, they were 9-8, completely off of the bubble on January 20th. But Penny ends up dropping the F-bombs, and you know what happens from there. And I mean, you still have a lot of opportunities ahead of you. They found a lineup that works, and the lineup did do particularly well. Of course, I'm referring to Quinterly, Jones, Walton, Jourdain, and Tomlin. I mean, they found a five, I think, that worked really well against Wichita, and obviously they blew through Temple in the first half, even though the substitutions were still a little bit much. Carl Sharon-Falk got in there, probably shouldn't have. Ashton Hardaway got in there, probably shouldn't have. I mean, and of course we have to mention the Jonathan Pierre thing. I mean, he got 10 points. He made a few clutch threes, I guess, but 1 for 4 from the free throw line, and I still think ultimately proved to be a detriment to this team. But I don't know, man. Memphis.
Well, Roman, I'll push back on the Pierre thing. I mean, those threes were huge. Those 10 points were huge. And yeah, he went 1 for 4 from the line. But his 3-pointers were so needed today in what turned out to be a close game. All I want from Jonathan Pierre, Jaquan Walton, Ashton Hardaway, Jaden Hardaway, I want them to hit open threes. If they can hit open 3-point shots, that raises the ceiling of the Memphis Tigers by a lot, quite frankly. And Pierre was the guy today to hit open threes. And shout out to HHK. Good game, Pierre. Where did he come from? I tweeted that, is this the Jonathan Pierre game? Like, because he had some really big threes that really were needed. I get what you're saying with Pierre and as an overall sentiment, but today at least he was a bright spot when you weren't getting anything from Jaden Hardaway. You didn't get anything from Ashton Hardaway or Jaquan for that matter.
I just still think Memphis would have been better off if they had played the same 5 until Tomlin found out. From there, you go with Dandridge, and that's just how you roll. Go stick with the players that work. And Memphis is still not learning that lesson. I mean, we've talked about this before. Penny typically does end up shortening that rotation. He does do it, but he just does it way too late in the year. And I don't think we're at that point just yet. But I have a feeling the flip's going to switch at some point. The switch is going to flip because it has in each of the past 2 seasons. And, we can only, I suppose, hope that it will this time around as well.
Look, man, I hope so too. And the comments are with you, Roman. I know Diggs, Penny, and those subs are still a conundrum. Yes, they are. They are still a conundrum, and I have a lot of thoughts on the subs. I'll get to them in a minute. As Wayne Kelly said here as well, I put up a moment ago. Penny still played 10 players in the first half. I mean, he just kept with a similar rotations, playing a lot of guys in the first half. And shout out to what China Max said here too. Walton shooting well would take the team to another level. Yeah, just affirming what I said before. I fully agree. If one of those guys that I mentioned before can knock down open threes, it really does matter to this offense. It's basically
he was 0-5 from 3 tonight. Walton was 0-5 from 3.
Exactly. And that's why you needed those threes from Jonathan Pierre. Because if you're not going to get them for Jaquan Walton, you're not going to get them from Jaden or Ashton for that matter, you got to get it from somewhere. Because otherwise, that paint's going to be packed. It's going to be difficult for Memphis to score inside. You need floor spacing. I mean, that's basketball 101. So at least Jonathan Pierre was able to provide those threes.
Here's this for a stat. Pierre, Javon Quinterly, and David Jones were the only 3 players that made a 3 tonight for Memphis.
Jeez.
Only 3 players made a 3 tonight for Memphis. It was Quinterly, Pierre, and David Jones.
Yeah. I mean, overall, 10 for 29 from 3 is not. It's average. It's basically bang average.
34%. 34%.
Yeah, 34%. That's basically bang average.
I mean, you expect better than that from this team, but it was obviously good enough tonight.
Yeah. I don't, and maybe Roman, you know this, and maybe you don't. In the last game, Jaquan looked to have been grabbing at his hip a little bit. Maybe he re-aggravated an injury that cost him a few games before. Have you heard anything about that? If you haven't, that's totally okay.
No, I've heard nothing about a Walton
Okay.
injury. I mean, I suspect a lot of guys are banged up at this point in the season since, we are in February. But, I mean, it's certainly plausible that he's fighting through something right now. But, no, I haven't heard anything official on that. Jalen Young was the only one that was out tonight.
Right.
So
okay. Gotcha. Any word on a timetable for him, or hopefully it's not serious?
No, all I know is that he's got an ankle. He didn't participate in the pregame warmups, and it was confirmed to me shortly before tip that Jalen Young wouldn't be playing there. We don't have a timetable on that.
Okay, gotcha. So before we get into player of the game, Roman, let me ask you thoughts on a discussion that was pretty rampant in the Discord. And again, if you're not in the Bluff City Media Discord, I mean, it gets hot in there. Like the discussions can really get fun and a little testy, a little back and forth, but it's all in good fun. We're all coming from the same boat, all supporting the team, wanting the best for the Tigers. So Roman, let me ask you, how do you feel about playing Jaden and your official thoughts? Would you rather see more Carl, more Ashton, more Jonathan, or are you okay with what Jaden provides as an older guy who, quote unquote, knows his role?
If it were up to me, Memphis would be playing a 6-man rotation.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would.
if they have endless stamina, sure.
I don't know. Houston does it. Auburn does it. I mean,
Tulane
does it. Even Tulane does it. So
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, a lot of elite teams in the country, they're playing 6-7-man rotations. So if Memphis wants to get to that next level, they need to make sure their best players are in the game as much as humanly possible. That's what every single metric suggests that you do. So Memphis should do that. It's pretty simple for me.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I guess I'll just share some of my.
I mean, this isn't the NBA. You can't just afford to test out your experiments. You can, I guess you could do that earlier in the season, but not in the middle of February when you're trying to fight for an at-large bid.
No, those are fair points. I guess my pushback to that sentiment would be it's still a marathon, not a sprint, and especially a team that is so.
I mean, I guess you have Jalen in there. It's a 7-man rotation, but
yeah, I guess. But Javon is so important to this team. David Jones is so important to this team. And again, like I really believe it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Which is why you shouldn't take them off the floor. You shouldn't.
Right, but if you play these guys 35 minutes a game for the rest of the season,
they're already playing 32 minutes a game.
Right. Granted, it's February, and like you said, they're going to tighten the rotations up. So they probably will. The minutes will probably ramp up a little bit now because they're near the end of the season. But if you do that for a sustained period of time, say from mid-December up until the end of the year, I think attrition can come back to bite you. And I don't mind Penny having rotations and paying other guys.
But like I just said, this isn't the NBA. This is college. You're getting 3 to 4 days between games most weeks.
True.
So, I mean, there is proper rest and, recovery in that, man. Again, RJ Davis probably plays 35 or so minutes a game. So why can't Javon Quinterly,
Yeah. No, I get where people are coming from. I get where you're coming from who say they want to fully shorten the rotation and they should have done that a while ago. I get it. And I hope that Penny can shorten the rotation moving forward. I mean, he's got
like Francis, let me put it to you like this. Besides Javon Quinterly, David Jones, Jaquan Walton, Nick Jourdain, Malcolm Dandridge, Naquan Tomlin, or Jalen Young, is there anyone on Memphis' roster who you think is a legitimate college basketball player right now? Like a legitimately good college basketball player.
I mean,
if the answer is no, then they shouldn't play. In February.
I get it. So again, in February, I'm with you. I'm not arguing about in February. I'm talking about people who have been saying he should have been doing this for a while now. He should have been doing this like since the start of January. That's my pushback. I get doing it in February in the year, and you're about to enter the conference tournament, and you want to be playing your best basketball. I get that. Like I'm fully with shortening rotations and only playing your best dudes. That I'm with y'all on that. I'm talking about people who are saying they should have been doing this since the start of January when they were playing the bad teams, the UTSAs, the Rices, the Vanderbilts, like the teams that theoretically you should have enough talent.
They almost lost to UTSA and they lost to Rice.
What I mean is Memphis should have enough talent. Memphis should have enough talent to be able to beat these teams. Like that's Penny Hardaway's mindset. Like he thinks he can experiment and try and figure it out.
Yeah, but there's no such thing as a gimme game anymore in college basketball. There's really not. The transfer portal has made that basically nothing. Like you can't just go into any game expecting to put in even 75% effort and win, at least comfortably. And Memphis, they should have learned that lesson enough times at this point. I guess tonight shows that they still haven't fully, but they closed the game out, which I guess is a sign of progression there.
Yeah, closed the game out. You know, Penny still had decent lineups to help Memphis put away in quotes, extend a run, answer Temple's runs, and Memphis. They showed good fight, good effort, good energy, and that's all any of us are looking for really from the lineups that Penny puts out. Just a group of 5 guys who are going to play hard and not be lazy, just continuously play hard and fight back. And that's what we saw in this game. So Roman, let me get who is your player of the game tonight?
David Jones. Pretty easy, right? I mean, 23 points, 7 to 12 shooting from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. If it weren't for, a few of his big plays at the end of the game, Memphis probably would have blown this to Temple, just being honest. I mean, that the 3 that he made right after Temple cut it to 63-60 with 7:27 to go was huge. And if that shot didn't come at that moment, perhaps this game goes completely differently. He also comes up with, I want to say, 5 steals, had 10 boards, 4 assists. He was everywhere tonight. So David Jones is Memphis' best player and tonight's player of the game for me.
Yep, I fully agree. 6 steals, Roman. So because he had that one at the end. Oh yeah, he got that steal at the last moment. So that was a 6. I mean,
well, he says he likes to get steals, and he got a lot of them tonight.
Yeah,
15 steals for Memphis as a team, actually.
Yep. I mean, that's what Memphis's defense is predicated on: forcing turnovers, getting deflections, creating chaos. That's what they do. They did that very well tonight. Look, there's no debating how good David Jones's hands are. He's got some great hands. His hand-eye coordination, I mean, it's very impressive. He was really good tonight. You said a stat line. I'm fully with you. He's my player of the game as well. Shout out to Javon Quinterly, though. Really good night from him. 19 points, 2 steals, 6 assists, 6 for 12 from the field, 3 of 7 from deep. He had some really big shots in the first half and looked like the JQ of old. But yeah, I mean, player of the game. Undoubtedly, David Jones. No question. Yeah. No question. All right, man. Look, I know you got to do your recap, so I'm going to let you go. But Roman, thank you for your time. And I won't see you after Tulane, but I'll see you after that.
Yeah, I'll see someone else, I guess, on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah,
for Memphis Tulane. That's the real game of the weekend, guys. Memphis Tulane.
Absolutely.
Completely forget about the Super Bowl. Tiger basketball on Sunday afternoon. That's the game of the day right there. I mean, for me, it will be, since I'll be at the Forum until probably about halftime of the Super Bowl. But
touche. I mean, hey, Memphis Tulane should be a good one. Tulane has Memphis's number. So hopefully Memphis can get Tulane back.
Yeah, another must win, and I think they will get it, but another must win for sure.
All right, sounds good, brother. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
All right, bye-bye.
The Memphis Grizzlies are working on something. They're playing on some type of.
They're leaving, Anthony.
Yeah, they're leaving. Yeah, we gotta fix the Liberty Bowl so the Grizzlies will stay.
You're right. They're leaving Memphis. They're going to Vancouver. They're going back to Vancouver.
Going to Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But yeah, man.
Don't even joke about that.
Yeah, exactly. I got so tired of hearing that bullshit.
That hurt my heart a little bit when you just said that.
Yeah, man. I would. If the Grizzlies moved anywhere else, man, I would still be a Grizzlies fan. I believe they go to Nashville, man. Hell, that shit. Damn, I'm gonna be a Minnesota fan of y'all. Like.
Be a Sacramento fan.
Yeah, but me and my girl Rail, we be repping the Pelicans.
I was about to say New Orleans, that's closest team out there.
Yeah, I'm not fooling no damn Nashville ass team.
Become a Zion fan
Right,
all
I'll
over
be
again.
a fat ass Zion fan. I ain't worried about this shit because the Grizzlies are planning on doing some downtown development, and I doubt they plan on doing something like that for a city they're trying to get the hell up out of.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Let's talk about the salary cap going into the deadline. The Grizzlies obviously moved Adams last week, but right now they are sitting at $173 million next year. That is $2 million over the salary cap, the luxury tax. That's in the first there. That would put them in the first apron. That is without Luke Kennard, though. His opt-in at 14.7. And the second apron is at 191. The reason they did the Adams trade was to take the $9 million of Oladipo's contract into this year. They're coming off the books next year. And there are a lot of things you are not allowed to do when you're in the second apron. It restricts the way you can sign players, how you can trade players, lots of restrictions. And it also just comes with a big tax bill. Just know that they're not going to go into the second apron.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with Mark King and Lute Hatmaker at 1 p.m. every Monday through Friday live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right,
I was bumping to that beat, man. The beat gets me going.
Man, I played the wrong clip, so I'm glad.
Oh,
you
hold
played
on.
the right clip.
Whew. Man, I had to fan myself off over here, man. That was a spicy little segment between you and Roman. I liked it.
I mean, hey,
I liked it. That's what
it all
happens
comes
when you because you and Roman have not done like this kind of content before. And you've together.
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
mean. You've done
Yeah.
plenty of this kind of content. It takes a few weeks to kind of get used to each other. Today, I felt like, man, yeah, that was nice.
Look, man, like I said, it all comes from the right place. That's all. That's what I always. That's what I always know. So, hey, man,
you got to taste. So for people that are watching this episode right now, they just got a little bit of a taste of what the Discord is like during game time, with maybe a few more F-bombs and other kinds of things flying in the Discord.
I mean, yeah. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to curse on this show, but I don't because I don't probably should.
Well, here's my stated view on cursing on the show is there's a difference between being vulgar and using language to get your point across.
Gotcha.
That's how I view it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Fair enough. No, it does. And it makes total sense. I get it. Yeah, that makes total sense. But anyway, welcome back to Tigers Live, presented by the Bluff City Collective. Kenny, man, again, man, another tight one, bro. Mm-hmm. Another tight one. It
didn't look like it was going to be, did it?
No, it looked like smooth sailing in the first half. I mean, JQ was hitting threes, hitting step backs, and David Jones was being David Jones. The defense was clicking and humming. It didn't look like it was going to be a tight one, but it was, right. Kenny. So give me your thoughts on the game, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I kind of watching it like you guys were and hearing you and Roman talk about it. I think y'all's points were 100% on point in terms of like what was going on during the game. I mean, clearly David Jones played a hell of a game. David Jones is a roller coaster, man. Just like this Tiger team, the way that he is a roller coaster throughout a game, it's just like the Tigers are, as a team. But, his stat line is wild. Every single game, it's wild because you're getting like crazy amounts of points, crazy amounts of rebounds, a lot of steals, and then there's just like turnovers galore. The Tigers had 11 turnovers tonight, and he had 5 of them or 4 of them. Like that's crazy. That's a lot of turnovers, and most of them were on not dead ball turnovers. They were
turned over in the game and, fast break points and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man. I think there was a few things that happened. If I'm going back to the first half, particularly where Tigers, they were up by how many points at halftime? It was a lot.
Yeah, they were up by, I think, let me see. Sorry, just give me one.
Oh no, you're good.
I should
have it pulled up. Let me see.
Basically, I should have it too.
They were up by 18 points at halftime.
18. Thank you. Yeah.
And so you've got. Sorry, I just opened ESPN.com, and you know how they play videos all the time. So I had his video just playing in my ear for about 30 seconds there. Anyway, all that to say, the Tigers came out and they really showed, they kind of flexed their defensive muscle in that first half. They played, one of the big things that I noticed is just their level of communication was different than I've seen in any other game. I think during this conference set of games that they've had, their level of communication, you saw a lot of talking, a lot of switching, and a lot of that just comes down to, man, you've got to be communicating on the court to be able to do those kinds of things. Obviously, yeah, I know Diggs, they were talking. They were doing a lot of talking out there, and that always bodes well, I think, for any defense, especially when, Penny had talked about that a few weeks ago, that he wants those guys to have fun. And someone asked, like, what does fun look like? And he said, fun is buying in, communicating, being active. And you saw that.
Yeah.
Turnovers and free throw shooting in the second half just stifled the game for them. It just made it took the pace away from what the Tigers had it in the first half, which is their pace, their full court press, up and down, lots of movement, lots of, I guess, as some folks like to say, playground kind of plays where they're just up and down the court, to more of a, a pace that suited kind of a muddy kind of game, like what Temple needed it to be. Right.
Yeah. Look, all great points, Kenny. Let me try and go through them. What you mentioned about David Jones, 4 turnovers. Memphis had 11. So overall, for turnovers from Memphis, that's good. I'll take 11 turnovers.
I'll take 11 turnovers all day.
Hey, come on. That's awesome. I'll take 11 turnovers for the team. David Jones having 4, though, that's just David Jones. That is. That's just kind of who he is. And like you said, they were all live ball turnovers. For whatever reason, David Jones in the fast break, he's not a good decision maker, bro. He's not. He's not. He have a 3-on-1 fast break, and he's the guy leading the 3-on-1, and he'll turn the ball over. It's very weird. I don't understand what it is. Maybe he's trying to go too fast, but he is not a good decision maker in the open court. It's weird. In the half court set, David Jones is Memphis's best half court player. There's no question. He can create something out of nothing. He'll get
him and Javon. I trust the ball in Javon's hands quite a bit, and I know a lot of folks have been kind of down on Javon lately, but man, when he's got the ball in his hands and he's working, he is a dynamic influence on this Tiger offense.
Oh yeah, just look at him in the first half. He was on fire. He was incredible in the first half. He had 15 points, 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 boards, and just 1 turnover in the first half. He was 6 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 4 from deep. The dude was back. He was cooking after all the issues he had against Wichita State. I'll even go back to that game, because what led Memphis back to beat Wichita State was Javon as a playmaker. Yeah. He just got back into the flow of the basketball game, not trying to force shots, but as a distributor. And I really believe that gave him the confidence to take that 3 at the end, and not just take it, but make it, to know that, I haven't made anything all game, but I'm back into the rhythm. I'm back into the flow. So I'm just going to let it fly. I'm open. We need this 3. Let it fly. And he hit it. And he carried that momentum straight back into tonight. I saw Michael Hoggins comment in the Discord that JQ had family at the game. So it's good to see JQ playing well. And I really think for Javon Quinley, I don't know the man at all, but just from watching the guy play, it's all up here, Kenny. It's all mental. He's got to. If he's locked in and fully confident in himself, There aren't too many better point guards in the nation, but there are times where he turns the ball over, he misses shots. You see that head start to drop. You see him you see his body language change so quickly. So it's really important for JQ to be right mentally. I really believe that. And if he is, man, he's a hell of a player. And a shout out to what Wayne Kelly said here. Always love Coach Kelly. When your mindset is always on scoring, you don't develop a passing mindset, and thus decision making suffers. That's David Jones, and I'm glad he plays for the Tigers. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm glad.
Agree, Coach. I agree. Like you see David, and it's like he gets the ball on the wing, and it's like he has one track mind. He is looking at that goal, and he is going no matter what. Listen, man, in college basketball, that might work. That might work when he goes and plays pro ball, wherever he plays pro ball. I think I read somewhere that Temple had 20 media credentials or 20 NBA scout credentials requested for this game when they usually have like 2 or 3, right? Like, and that's all. Let's be real. That's David Jones, right? They're looking at David Jones, and so I would love to see David Jones in the NBA. I'd love to see him playing somewhere. He'll play somewhere overseas, no doubt. If he doesn't make it to the to the NBA level, but you might be able to in a pro level game where there's defensive 3 seconds, so you can't just plant a big man in the paint and just let him sit there by the rim the entire game. But that's the problem with college basketball in a lot of ways. If you're a one-track mind dude going to the basket and they have somebody just planted there that doesn't move, you got to be able to make decisions on a very quick basis. And David struggles with that. Like Coach said, we'll bring it back up. He says his mindset is always on scoring. You don't develop that passing mindset. And you've got to you see that with David's passing, in that his passes are like last ditch, help me kind of passes that result in turnovers. And that's the issue he gets himself into. And he over dribbles so much. Like you hear it all the time. You hear coaches talk about, man, if you had just stopped that movement one step earlier or one dribble earlier, if you hadn't gone so deep, you might be able to make a play. But he goes way too deep, because he's either going to score it or he's going to get too deep and have to make a bad pass or make a tough pass that could easily get, stolen. So
I agree.
But hey, that's David Jones, and I'm glad he plays for the Tigers.
Hey, I am too. I said on Twitter that the David Jones experiment. He hits a deep 3 when Memphis just needed the deep 3 in the second half. When Temple was on the run, they cut it to 3 points. David Jones hits a deep 3. And then the next possession, he looks off. And I don't know if you remember this, Kenny. He looked off Javon Quinley, who was wide open. I mean, JQ might as well have been in an open gym. Like,
he should have just gone and sat next in the expensive seats in Temple, right? Like at the Temple Stadium. He just go sit down, bro. Like, you ain't getting this ball.
He was wide open, and David just looked him off. And David Jones dribbled left and forced up a horrible, let's be real, a horrible shot. And it goes in, Kenny.
It goes in.
It goes in.
And he gets fouled. When he got the and one? Yeah, and one.
Yes. And he gets fouled. And you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, how do you not pass that ball to a wide open guy who's one of your best 3-point shooters? And then after that, and he missed the free throw because David Jones couldn't hit a free throw today. Temple goes down. Their best scorer, Hysier Miller, I think I'm pronouncing his first name.
Yeah,
right.
Miller. Yeah.
Miller hits a 3 to cut the Memphis lead back down again. And then what does David Jones do? The next possession right down. Step back 3, ISO ball, David Jones on the left corner. Everyone get out. What is the Kobe? This is like the ISO sign. Get out, just DJ in the corner, step back 3, buckets. That's the David Jones experience. That's it. And then you add the turnovers and live ball situations, and that's it. Like that's just who he is.
Well, what's kind of tough for the Tigers, and this is wild because it shouldn't be this way, but I guess if the ball's in their hands, this is going to happen. But Javon had 3 turnovers and David had 4. That's 7 out of the 11 turnovers for the Tigers in this game. That's your guard, your backcourt's going to get a hefty sum of them. The good thing is the Tigers didn't get a lot of turnovers in any other part of, like, whether it be in the paint, whether it be a big man bringing the ball too low and getting it stripped, whatever it may be. There were, if Javon and David can cut down on their turnovers, man, like that's going to be big for this Tigers team moving forward.
Yeah, and cut down on turnovers for sure, and for David Jones as well as keep talking about DJ. I mentioned on Twitter as well. I've said this a bunch on Tigers Live. I just want David Jones to average 3 assists per game.
Yeah,
is that so much to ask? Like, that's all on 1, 3 assists. He averages 1.6 right now. So I just want him to double that.
Just double that.
Just double that. Just double it. But he had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, man.
So
in that first, it was the first half. Let's be real. He had 4 assists, I think, maybe in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Probably.
And then the rest of it went back to normal, the David Jones experience. But no, he was definitely, I noticed that in the first part of the first half, that he was very clearly looking to get his teammates involved, which is always a good sign. I mean, you can be a scorer all day long, but you got to be a playmaker as well,
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the first half, I said on Twitter that Temple was in the 2-3 zone. David Jones had the ball at around the top of the 3-point line, had a right wing top 3-point line, and threw a beautiful cross-court pass to a wide open Javon Quinterly in the corner. I mean, that's the vision I'm talking about. Like, that's not an easy read, but he read the 2-3 zone perfectly there.
Beautiful pass.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, great find to a corner shooter, and JQ hits his 3, and that's what I'm talking about. If that's the play for the scouts in the arena.
That's what that was.
That's for the scouts.
I think I heard him in Spanish say, "Put that on my tape, bro." I heard him say it. I heard him. Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh no, I didn't know that, Kenny.
I can barely speak English, bro. What am I talking about?
I understand Tagalog. I understand Tagalog, so I got that. I can't even speak it that well, but I understand Tagalog at least. There's a Filipino in me. So let me hear your thoughts too, Kenny, on the lineup stuff. Are you in agreement with Roman that it's just they just got to play their best guys? It's that simple, or where do you land on all this?
Can me and you get in a fight like you and Roman did if I say I agree with Roman? No, I'm just joking. Listen, man, this might be the diplomat in me, but I'm going to say it's somewhere in the middle, right? Like it's somewhere in the middle. And I said this in the Discord today. It's not who plays, it's when they play, right? Like for me, that's the issue that I have, is not who plays, but it's when they play. Because Francis, you're 1000% right. I don't care how great a shape you're in, you got to take a break, man. Like you got to have a rest period, right? Like you got to be able to, you got to get Javon off the floor to get, to settle him down, to get his breathing back, whatever it may be. You got to rotate players in and out. Like that has to happen. I do think that there is a level of inconsistency and timing that I think is my issue with the substitution patterns. It's not necessarily that Jaden Hardaway gets minutes.
Yeah.
It's that there are times when it's like, why did you just do this right now? Like, dude is cooking. Like I didn't really, and I have to go back and rewatch it. I was downstairs watching the game, and I had my son and my daughter right next to me, and not a whole lot of really deep diving. You can do not a whole lot of really game planning you can do to talk about the game when you got kids climbing all over you. But so I'll go back and rewatch it so I can kind of notice that in particular. But in the Wichita State game, the previous game, there was a couple of plays where like it just was so confusing to me. I think Jaquan came down, had a nasty assist to somebody, and then he came down and hit 2 threes in a row. So it was like 3 straight possessions where Jaquan had a total effect on the success of a play. You could tell he was cooking, getting animated, getting fired up, and then boom, Jaden comes in for him. Like those are the kind of things that make me go, okay, I get it. Like that's Jaden needs to play a few minutes in this game to give Jaquan a break to do that. It's more so when it happens. That's my issue. But I do think that there are a few players that get minutes on this team that have no business getting minutes on this team. I firmly believe the Tigers have 8 college basketball players on this team right now. 8. Like, I think that's all they have. Can you catch a heater and maybe get a 17-point game from Ashton Hardaway against Michigan every once in a while? Yeah, absolutely. But Ashton Hardaway is not a effective college basketball player right now. He's just not. Jonathan Pierre has not been all year until tonight. And if you can get minutes out of Jonathan and get points out of Jonathan, man, hell yeah, go after it, right? Like, get him. But Jonathan cannot be trusted like he was trusted tonight, I don't think. Like, at the very end of the game, was in the game. And I know who else are you going to play? There's fouls, all that kind of stuff. But I just think that there are a few players, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you are the captain of the Carl Chanfant ship. I think Carl is going to be an effective college basketball player at some point. It ain't right now. It ain't right now. But here's the problem, though, Francis, is that the Tigers don't have a lot of bench depth right now. Yeah. Like, they really don't, which is crazy because at the beginning of the year, we were like, man, they're 10 deep. They could go 10 deep every position, right? Yeah. We thought depth was not going to be an issue. Losing Caleb obviously hurts that. Caleb would be your guy off the bench, and he is obviously one of the better players on the Tigers team. But I think what's kind of become very true about this Tigers team that we've noticed, that I think most people that watch this team on a consistent basis can tell you, is they're not deep. They don't have a lot of depth. And because of that, you're going to have to ask a lot of your top 5 players. And so when I say it's kind of in the middle, it's like, yes, I agree with you in that you got to spot minutes for players to get them rest, to get them a break, to get them whatever they need, whether it be a mental reset, whatever it may be. But trotting out 11 or 12 players in a college basketball game in February is asinine, in my opinion. So I'm right there in the middle with you, because the Tigers don't have 12, 11, 10, 9 college basketball players. They have 8.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, all really fair points. All really fair points. I want to get to these comments really briefly before I respond, because they were there's some good ones.
Are there?
Mike M. Shaden hurts us more than anyone. He plays because of daddy. Damn.
Man, listen. I get it. It is easy, and I understand where Mike's coming from on that. But I refuse to believe. I refuse to engage in the daddy stuff. Like, I'm like, man, that's just too personal for me, man. Like, I don't know. Just for me.
No, I get it. No, I totally get it. I said this in the Discord about Jaden, and I still stand by this. I don't think he should be playing. I really just don't. I don't think he should be getting minutes over Carl, over Pierre, or over Ash. Maybe not Ashton. Ashton really has real struggles, but I just don't think he's very good. Like, straight up, I really don't think he's very good. Just, this is not a personal thing. I'm not like, just because his dad's Penny Hardaway. None of that. I just don't think he's that good. Defensively, he gets blown by almost every time he's on the floor. He's not hitting open threes. He did last year. Last year. Yeah, man. Like he did last year. But he's not doing it this year.
Right.
And he takes some ridiculous shots. I mean, he took a shot today in the second
behind
half.
Behind the backboard.
There's like 25 seconds left on the shot clock. And Jaden's like, all right, I got the ball on the right wing. Let me cook. I mean, he goes to his right. And he just throws up a mid-range floater behind the backboard. And thank God for Tomlin for getting that rebound. Because if Memphis didn't score from that, oh my God. I mean, it was like, why?
Yeah.
What is that, dude? Like,
Yeah.
I get the sentiment that you want to play Jaden because he's a senior, he's experienced, he should know his role. He's played a lot of college basketball. But look, let's be real. He has not been good this year. And I would rather play Carl. And though I agree that he's not fully ready, and I think he'll be a good college basketball player. But the thing with Carl is at least he's just a great defender. He's a really good defender. And on the offensive side, he's not there, but defensively, he is very good, very good. And if Pierre can hit shots like he did tonight, can hit threes, then as I said at the start of the show, all I want from these guys is to hit open threes. Like I want Ashton, Jaden, Jaquan, and Pierre just to hit open threes. Whoever that guy is who's going to hit open threes and add spacing to this roster, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want.
I feel you, brother.
So, I get it. I'm with you that they got to shorten the rotation. Wayne Kelly said a really good comment. Let me try and pull it up here. He said, I think the game of basketball requires getting into rhythm and team chemistry. With so many lineup changes so quickly, the team never maximizes either, in my opinion. Yeah. That's my opinion too, Coach, and that's Kenny's opinion as well. I get your point, Kenny, that it's not necessarily who, but it's when. Like I'm totally with you. They don't seem to have any rhyme or reason. Jaquan hits a couple threes and he gets pulled, and you can say that about other guys as well. And so there doesn't seem to be purpose in the rotations, but hopefully that changes.
There's a comment that came up that I really wanted to mention in this. Let me find it real quick. I started. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. I'm going to bring it up. Coach said this, and man, shout out to Coach Wayne Kelly. I don't know Coach Wayne Kelly. I'm calling him Coach because you call him Coach, but every time he comes on the show, man, I love his comments. His comments are great.
Hello, Coach.
He had a rant, and I am in total agreement with this rant. The announcers of the game added nothing to the broadcast, in my opinion. 100% agree with that. John Crispin is insufferable to me as a commentator, but he said one thing at the end of the game that I thought was true. And I wanted to kind of bring this up to close out the show because I'm actually jumping on the Grizz 901 post-game show too, and the game's almost over. So, very cool. But he said that his favorite players that the Tigers have had over the last couple of years is a guy like Tyler Harris and a guy like DeAndre Williams, guys who could come in and drop 15 points and the fire that they'd bring to the court. Like DeAndre Williams was a madman out there, but DeAndre Williams was that man. As goofy as DeAndre Williams looked when he had that hair flowing and he would hit a shot and come down and, scream, that kind of stuff, man, that fired. I'm getting chills even thinking about that kind of stuff, right? Like when he used to do that. This team doesn't have that. This team doesn't have that dude. Everybody is so cool on this team. Everybody is so chill. Like you don't get Jaquan might be that guy, but Jaquan hasn't had enough success this year to really be able to express himself in that way. But man, I really do feel like that this team is missing that emotional fire you up leader. This team is full of dudes who are just so cool, man. You don't see facial expressions don't change, whether they make a three or whether they turn the ball over. Their facial expressions don't change when they, when they go on a 15-0 run or give up a 15-0 run. It's just, to me, it's a level of just coolness that doesn't flow with a team like this, man. You got to have somebody. You got to have an emotional leader like a DeAndre Williams or a Tyler Harris, a guy who's willing to just go bananas out there when something good happens. Because that galvanizes teams when you have somebody like that. And so that is something I just kind of as an aside kind of tossing in. I do believe those announcers were terrible. I can't stand John Crispin. I think he's terrible. But I did think I agreed with him on that part. This team is just too cool, man. Too cool. And so I would love to see somebody. Man, who is that person? Who is that person going to be? I don't know. I don't know who it is.
I don't know who it is either, man. And I'm with you. That is an issue. There isn't that vocal leader that Memphis has had in the past to galvanize the troops. Like there just isn't that guy. You know, I talked about JQ earlier. He's not that guy. Like he's just not vocal enough. He's not emotive enough.
Right.
That's just not who he is. He likes to stay level-headed, and unfortunately, when things aren't going his way, he'll show that emotion instead of the up emotion. So, you know, I don't mind showing emotion if you're not playing well, but you know, get into the game when you are playing well. Yeah, like that. That's what you need. You know, David Jones showed that. I think he was decent. He was decent with that early on, especially when they were in the Bahamas. David Jones had his moments where he would, you know, he'd flex or he'd get loud and he'd scream or something. But you just don't. I mean, I think the losing streak definitely hurt the team's confidence, hurt the team. You know, wanted to talk a lot or be vocal. You know, I think that hurt. But tonight, look, tonight they had a little skirmish. They got those two double texts like midway through the second. They got, you know, a little bit into it. You know, they showed a little bit of fight and showed a little bit of tenacity, you know, for lack of a better term. Memphis showed some heart, and you know, that's what this team needs. I'm with you, Kenny. They need someone to be the vocal guy. You heard on the broadcast saying that, you know, they could hear Nick Jourdain a lot, you know, talking on defense and you know, talking in practice and all that stuff. Whoever it is, if it's not an individual, Kenny, I just hope. How about it's a team thing? Yeah. How about the team just buys into being more communicative and supporting each other and uplifting each other? You know, like there was a small moment in the game where you saw Ashton miss a couple threes in the first half, and I wrote down my notes. He missed a couple threes. Then in a dead ball, Ashton's talking to Penny, and you see JQ go up behind Ashton,
and rub his shoulders.
Rub his shoulders. You know, tap him on the butt. I'm like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. Like that. That's what I want to see. I want to see supporting each other, rallying together, not being down, not hanging your head, not being frustrated with each other, supporting each other. You know, that's what it's about. That's what a team, being on a team is about, supporting each other. And, you know, hopefully, man, they can come together. You know, this was a good win, not a big win. You know, it's not, I don't think it'll help their net rating or anything, but anyone at this
who cares about that?
Yeah,
nobody cares about that.
Just win.
People got to stop worrying about the net. They just got to get wins, baby. Just win.
Got to get wins.
Hey, Francis, you're the man, dude. I'm going to jump out of here, let you close out the show. But, man, dude, good job tonight. Congratulations to the Tigers getting another dub. Let's keep it going, man. Tulane, I'm excited about this Tulane game, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited about Tulane as well.
Thank you, brother. Y'all be good.
Yes, sir. Cool. All right, y'all. I'll send this to a commercial break, and then I'll see you on the other side.
The Memphis Grizzlies are working on something. They're playing on some type of.
They're leaving, Anthony.
Yeah, they're leaving. Yeah, we gotta fix the Liberty Bowl so the Grizzlies will stay.
You're right. They're leaving Memphis. They're going to Vancouver. They're going back to Vancouver.
Going to Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, no.
But yeah, man. Don't even joke about that.
Yeah, exactly. I got so tired of hearing that bullshit.
That hurt my heart a little bit when you just said that.
Yeah, man. I would. If the Grizzlies moved anywhere else, man, I would still be a Grizzlies fan. I believe they'd go to Nashville, man. Hell, that shit. Damn, that, man. I would be a Minnesota fan of y'all. Like.
Be a Sacramento fan.
Yeah. But me and my girl, Rail, we'd be repping the Pelicans.
Let's go. I was say, New Orleans, that's closest team out there.
Yeah. I'm not fooling no damn Nashville-ass team.
Become a Zion fan
right,
all over again.
I'll be a fat-ass Zion fan. I ain't worried about that shit because the Grizzlies are planning on doing some downtown development, and I doubt they plan on doing something like that for a city they're trying to get the hell up out of.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Let's talk about the salary cap going into the deadline. The Grizzlies obviously moved Adams last week, but right now they are sitting at $173 million next year. That is $2 million over the salary cap, the luxury tax. That's in the first there. That would put them in the first apron. That is without Luke Kennard, though. His opt-in at 14.7. And the second apron is at 191. The reason they did the Adams trade was to take the $9 million of Oladipo's contract into this year. They're coming off the books next year. And there are a lot of things you are not allowed to do when you're in the second apron. It restricts the way you can sign players, how you can trade players, lots of restrictions. And it also just comes with a big tax bill. Just know that they're not going to go into the second apron.
Tune in to The Daily Grind with Mark King and Loot Hatmaker at 1 p.m. every Monday through Friday, live on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Do a quick outro because I know people want to get to the Grizz 901 postgame show. Shout out Daniel Greer. Shout out to Daniel Greer, to Nathan Qualls. Y'all are awesome. So quick close, and y'all can head over to the Grizz 901 postgame show. Shout out to Robert Smith here saying that, is there room in the tourney for this team if they don't win out? Robert, y'all, it depends on who the loss is against. If the Tigers do suffer a loss, depends on who it's against. You know, if it's at FAU or if it's at North Texas and that's the only Tigers loss for the rest of the way, then, you know, maybe the Tigers get the at-large bid. Maybe they're a 9 seed. Maybe they're in the basically the equivalent of like a playing game for the NCAA tournament. Maybe they're in that. Maybe the last 4 in. Maybe. But I really believe that the Tigers really they got to win out. Like if they want to be comfortable in the NCAA tournament, so where we get to Selection Sunday and all of us aren't watching Selection Sunday all super nervous, I think the Tigers have to win out. You know, obviously it'd be great if they won the conference tournament too, where they get the automatic bid and we don't have to stress. But let's just focus regular season. I think they got to win out the rest of the way if we're going to be comfortable on Selection Sunday. As I know Dick said, just win, baby. That's the sentiment for all Tigers fans, everybody covering the team, all of us, just win. You know, this was not a beautiful win for the Memphis Tigers at all. The first half, it was beautiful. Second half was not beautiful, at least to close the second half. But a win is a win. They still were able to pull away at the end, get a much-needed victory, 84-77 against Temple. Looking ahead, they have Tulane Sunday at what is this? Sunday at 11 a.m. or this might be on Pacific time, but it's Sunday. It's Sunday morning. And so hopefully the Tigers can get over that hump, beat Tulane, because that's something they haven't done in a long time. So hopefully they can do that, beat Tulane, keep the win streak going, keep the momentum going before they travel to North Texas, which will be a really tough game, big game for the Memphis Tigers at North Texas. Sunday, I won't be there. As I told y'all at the jump, I'm moving apartments. So next time you see me, I'll have a brand new setup and everything. So hopefully it looks cool. I'm excited to move. It's been stressful so far, but excited to move. But next Sunday, definitely enjoy the game. Tune into Tigers Live post-game. The show will still happen, just be a different host, but tune into Tigers Live post-game. And look, I will see y'all after North Texas. Peace, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Tigers Live. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.